here we are. Hello, and welcome to I'm Not Trying to Kill You. Today, we're playing Girl by Moonlight, and this series is called Toward Heaven. We did episode 0 about a week and 2.5 weeks ago. The timeline's gotten a bit messed up, but this would normally be our Sunday game. Today it's our Monday game. That is all fine, which means that for lovely Andrew, it is quite late. But in the meantime, we have with us 4 magical girls, each of whom is capable of flying or piloting some kind of mech. I will get you all to do an introduction of yours. Shall we do characters at the same time, or shall we do characters separately?
Let's do characters separately.
Okay, all right.
I almost like to do like a character and obligation montage.
Yeah, we'll do
like,
that.
For the first
Like it.
episode, do that.
Cool.
I love montages.
All right. So let's start out with Emily. Who are you? What are your pronouns? What do you do?
Sure. Hi, I'm Emily. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a filmmaker and an artist. Sometimes I make art for games. Sometimes I do commissions of people's role-playing game characters. I'm on Twitter at Blackwall Says. And sometimes I also tweet ridiculous quotes from these games because there are often ridiculous quotes.
Yeah, definitely.
Budgie Smuggler.
Budgie Smuggler was so good. I loved them so much.
I need to listen to that.
I need your help. I'm on a mission from rock and roll.
It's true.
Andrew, who are you? What do you do? What are your pronouns?
I'm Andrew. I use they, them, their pronouns, and I designed this game. And that's most of what I do.
It's a pretty good thing to do.
Also, you play role-playing games on the internet with cute people and are very good at it.
That's also true.
Is that like secretly praising yourself, though?
No, I was talking about the Roll20 crew, like more,
I see.
but like unintentionally. I
Also-
these people.
Yeah.
I'm cute-ish, I guess.
Guess I'm cute. All right, fine. Melody, who are you? What are your pronouns? What do you do?
Hello, I'm Melody. She, her pronouns. I do too much role playing. I talk about too many role playing games. I don't get paid for it yet, but that's the plan one day. And I study history and work at a university.
Cool. And Luke, who are you? What do you do with your pronouns?
Hello, I am Luke. They, them pronouns, please. I am a professional GM for children. The holiday program has just ended. Praise God. It was a lot. And then the rest of the time, when I have free time, I design games. And also, increasingly, I play them online, I guess, with cool people. Like this.
And they're amazing games.
Yeah.
And they're very amazing games. Andrew, good job.
Yes, this is a good game. Well, I mean, we'll find out if it's a good game in a minute.
We've already played it once. It's a good game.
That's a good point. Our game that we played was pretty good, and that was only like a couple of hours. So, just because we're on episode 1, we did cover this in episode 0, but I want to cover it again, because it's episode 1, I'm going to get into some actual role-playing. We are all adults choosing to play a role-playing game together, which means that we're going to probably come across some stuff that might be pretty intense. It might have some emotional content for some people. Sometimes people might find that it's triggering for trauma or things like that for them. So we want to have a system in place that allows us to handle that respectfully. So we're using a variant of the X card system. We have 2 things to say, hey, I'm not okay. One is a verbal cue. So if you say red card, or I'd like to red card this, or X card, I'd like to X card this, then that's fine. What we'll do is we'll just stop, move along. The thing never happened. We just elide it. It goes away. If you are the only thing that we'll ask is maybe, what do you want us to avoid in future? We won't ask, hey, why was that? We won't question you on it. That's not what we're here for. We're happy to just move on. If you are having trouble verbally saying that, hand up to the screen, just with an open palm. That way we know that you are struggling. So that's a really clear signal for us, so we can see that on the camera. Cool. If we're all feeling good about that, maybe we should play this role-playing game. Maybe we should head into the world of Toward Heaven. Let's talk about where we are. What I might do is I might pull you, the players, over to this screen.
New screen.
Oh my god.
Got a little bit of art there. So last time we did a lot of establishing. We did a lot of establishing.
Oh, sorry, my Firefox just crashed. I will be back in a moment.
Okay, sure.
It's such a good picture now.
So we talked about how in our setting there is we have a last bastion of humanity that maybe was the last bastion of what we consider to be humanity before the bad thing happened, if we don't consider the war in which we killed everyone but ourselves to be the bad thing. If we consider that to be the normal thing, and the habitation of the entire world by angry ghosts that want us dead, if we consider that to be normal, the bad thing happened when we attempted to open a portal to the heavens, so that we could go there, having won the war and deserving our rightful place in Valhalla, or its equivalent. But it turns out that heaven is filled with gods that don't necessarily like us. So now we have a problem where there are ghosts on the outside, demons or angry gods or something on the inside of our city, and we live in this donut-shaped rim around the outside. Our player characters are angelic characters that were bred by the priesthood to venture us forth into heaven, grown in some kind of strange vats. And they are responsible now for picking up the relics of the of ancient titans that fought wars for the gods, and defending us from both threats outside and in. Shall we do our introductions, or shall we do that with our obligations? Let's do that. Who would like to introduce themselves first?
Luke.
Fuck me up.
Yeah, alright, let's do it, Luke. You're up. Okay, cool.
Already, you know me so well.
Yeah, damn straight. So, let's talk about, like who is Swift? Where do we see them? And, who is Swift? What is their, role? And where do we see them to start with?
So Swift is the time traveler. And so she is from the world before. Before, not even before the war, before the great schism that formed two cultures that then eventually fought the war. She's from way back. Her true name in her magical girl form is Listener. She is actually, if you listen to the mythology of these people, one of the gods. The first mortal to be uplifted into their ranks. Yeah. Her role is civilian and mechanic, because she was a shaman way back in the Wen and knows how to commune with these relics and how to repair them. And where we see her is in an interrogation room.
Yeah.
With two very different looking people sitting opposite the table from her. One of them is an interrogation looking person with dark colors and a hard face and stony flinty eyes and some kind of unpleasant tools in front of them, ? And then the other person is an academic in like a tweed jacket, and he's like slightly balding and like really thin. He's got this dumb mustache and like little glasses. Yeah, that's Camael. He's a dick.
We like him.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
my
you don't
quote
like him.
unquote
I like
frenemy.
him.
He's my frenemy, but really he's just an enemy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Swift is this young woman with like flaming red hair. She's tall and pale and freckled. She has like tattoos in like a Swirlic kind of Celtic style, in like blues and greens. Her eyes are of two different colors. One is like green, and the other is kind of like a weird colorless, adaptive color. And yeah, right now she's being interrogated by this douchey historian and his interrogator buddy about like details of the world that was and why she keeps lying about that we were like that this people were once unified with their great enemy, because that couldn't possibly be true. That's not what history tells us. What is this fanciful nonsense?
Yeah. They're basically trying to and it's really interesting. Like Camille is so calm and reserved, and it's like, no, that's not what our records indicate. And then it's and then it's Varsa, the guy with the tools, who's like, no, say it again, right? Like
they're trying to get me to recant.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Yep, because my lowest resist category is tsundere, resisting, what is it? Fear and, like, violence or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yep, violence and fear.
Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to cut away from each of these and then come back and, like, get to, like, the drama point of it.
Totally. Awesome.
After our opening credits.
Yep, so that's me.
Yeah. Who wants to go next? Mal?
Yeah, can do. So are we, is the scene, like the introduction scene there, is that something specifically to do with the obligation?
It doesn't have to be. I think what we are actually in is in the opening credits, right? Like we're cutting to like we're doing like Swift played by Luke, and like there's some poppy nonsense and a whole bunch of like flying birds and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'm playing Adnakiel, or Edna for short. And she is like the kind of meant to be like the icon. She's a beautiful, perfect creation who is meant to represent everyone and the best of everyone, and is meant to be pure and perfect and good all the time. And she was, unlike Swift, she was born and grown in a vat, because that's how this society rolls. She has like amazing blue hair that's kind of has a bit of a mind of its own, classic anime style, and just she's always like impeccably made up, but in that kind of way that instead of it looking uncanny and like she's wearing too much makeup, it looks, people assume that that's what natural looks like, and that natural it looks shit.
So
because yeah, exactly. Yeah, and are we meant to be talking about a playbook and the mechanics and stuff at this point?
Not specifically. Where do we see them today? Like just at the just for like a brief like cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we see like a close up of Edna, and she's got this kind of like look somewhere between boredom and sadness on her face, and there's someone brushing her hair, which is Anna, her attendant, and then the camera zooms right out, and they're like in the center of this enormous, empty, dark chamber.
Yeah, nice.
And there's just no one else or anything really there.
Yeah. Do we see like I imagine that like in the corners of the darkness there's like elaborate like mahogany like bedside tables and things like that?
Totally. It is actually gorgeous. Like the you know, it's all like extremely lush and like well appointed, and individually everything in it is amazing and perfect, but it's just like the emptiness of it, it kind of corrupts it.
Yeah. Christ and Rama, where do we see you? What do you look like?
So, I think Chris and Rama are both. Yeah, they're posing for the sculpture. This is like where they spend most of their time.
Yeah.
And so it's like this. There's this one very specific pose that we will see repeated, where it's like one is in this very like upward like ballerina kind of pose, and the other is like, you know, like holding their head and like twisted down.
Who's up and who's down?
I think they take turns because they're
Yeah,
like
right.
perfectly identical.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So on any given day, they like trade off, because otherwise, like, because like, you know, like they'll get like the crick in the shoulder from having their arm up all day and like need to switch. And yeah, so the two of them just have like this. They have very like tired faces. Like they're always under strain, and they're really like thin. Like my big point of reference would be Natalie Portman in Black Swan, where she's like just looks like a little bit older and strained than like other people in this role might. And that like ruthlessly thin, like very regimented kind of lifestyle. So yeah, the two of them are standing perfectly still, and they look like statues until like eventually very late in the shot, like one of them blinks.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we hear them muttering.
Like, they blink, and then we see the actual. Sorry.
Yeah, and it goes between that to like the sculpture, the unfinished sculpture. Yeah, and Hildar like muttering as he like, ding, 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 like.
Yeah. And
then like he takes this one little tiny tap, and then like puts the tool down and is like staring at it and looking back at
them. Cool. And Cert, who are you, what do we see of you?
Yeah, so I think we see Cert on like a kind of a small raised platform in like what is, I guess, a public square that looks to be in like quite a civilian area. Maybe there's a school or a university or something like that. And he has two sort of attendants on either side of him that kind of look like halfway between like bodyguards who are there to protect him and like officials who are there to like bring him to do a thing. He has a sort of he has a very unexpressive face. It's always kind of quite serious looking and a bit mournful. He's dressed in like a not a suit specifically, like tuxedo or anything, but like kind of something that is, I think, more like a dress uniform, a bit military looking. He's giving a speech to the people that are kind of in the square, and it's not like a big formal occasion. It seems like something that maybe happens fairly often. And he's sort of giving what sounds a little bit of a rote kind of recitation about the value of reformation from a life of crime, and how anyone can give up their past sins and become true members of the community, etc. And he said, he's saying all of it with sort of very little kind of emotional response on his face.
Yeah, cool. I think from there, right, because we're down in the city itself, like the others I think are taking place in or around the arc, and so we see you, and like we see you giving the speech, and then we kind of zoom out and see all of the like like dreary like members of the members of the community like standing around, being like just kind of like staring at you like dead-eyed, understanding, right, and just like nodding. And like we zoom and we like do this like circle camera as we slowly pan out over the city and see like all of the like quite neat but like kind of dark and still war battered, and not at all. There's no flowers or trees or anything in this city. It's all just paved roads and big stone buildings and things. And we zoom out and like we pan up to see the Ark. What's his name?
It's got a great name.
Yes, it is.
The unconquered sun that triumphs over heaven.
Yeah, we see the unconquered sun that triumphs over heaven. I feel like it's a massive wooden ark with like big gold / brass like trim and things, just like glinting in the sunlight, and it's and like basically glowing and adding color to this otherwise like shades of gray scene. And from it, we see like the searchlights, the beams of light that come down from it, and like keeping and like beaming down light onto this giant pit surrounded by towers and a wall inside at the bottom of the city, at the bottom of this bowl-shaped city, where we see, and then in the pit, it appears to just be like a hyper version of like somewhere between like clouds and space, where there's like clouds, but then they have like planets and stars in them, and we see that being like illuminated by this searchlight from the Ark, and then I think we like zoom out further, and we see just like the entire world around this little circle of grey, where there's just bright green springing up from every crevice amongst the mountains along the sea, the edge of the ocean, and all through the forests. And we like zoom down into one of these forests and just see like skeletons and swords and and broken down war machines. And we just pan onto like a little, like I think a bluebird. It's just sitting, like it comes and flits and sits on like a sword stabbed into a skeleton, and it's looking away from us, and then like it turns its face and looks at us, and its eyes are just like black pits with red embers in them, and then it turns back to looking at the city, and the words "toward heaven" come back up over the screen. I think that's our introduction sequence. What is the first? We start off in downtime, which means we start off with
Obligation.
With obligation, don't we? Do we want to go in the same order we just did, or do we want to go back in reverse? Emily?
Let's go in the same order.
Okay, all right. In which case, Luke, how you doing? Oh, Luke is frozen.
Oh, they're froze. They're froze. They all froze. Oh.
We're getting the PowerPoint presentation of Luke.
Oh, wait,
Hey,
they're
internet
unfroze.
back, Luke?
We just can't hear them.
Yay,
Yes, I can
looks
hear
good.
them.
Cool.
I am back. Good.
Yep.
I am. In the meantime, I'm trying to tech problem solve.
So, this is your obligation, and to a certain degree, you're used to it, right? It's the thing that is constantly, like, that you have to deal with all the time. But as soon as it gets any worse than usual, that's when it starts to be an issue. What is the thing that they're grilling you on today that is like personal?
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Like, I figure the usual dance goes like, they try and get me to recant the quote unquote like false propaganda I'm spreading about the beloved glorious history of our great empire. And I refuse, and they press me, and I refuse. Right, and this goes on for a bit until like, as a person who's not particularly like brave against like physical threats, right, and then they get more and more forceful until eventually I'm like, oh fuck, this is a lot, and then I give them like useful information and like mystical secrets from back in the day to like make them go away for a bit.
Yeah.
And then next week they're back, and we start the whole twisted game all over again.
Who is the person that you loved that they are trying to demonize?
Oh God. It's whichever god Sort is modeled off.
Yeah. Right. Sort, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the real world equivalent for the shorthand is the Egyptian god Set. So this kind of I believe was sort of a good guy, then kind of became a bad guy, but then was reformed and sort of given a job to do, which I believe involved driving or navigating a chariot through the sky with the sun or something along those lines.
Accompanying
Ra
down under the world and protecting him from the horrible serpent.
So what does our version of Set look like? Or what is their name?
Yeah, I'm like, I cede this to you. I think it should be your choice. I'll come up with something if you want, but
I mean, I think I'm literally named after. I think Surt is like literally named after the god. So
that makes a lot of sense.
I was gonna say, like, maybe for all of us, like, if we don't want to go with this, that's fine. Like, our not true name is the god name kind of thing.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I chose like because I've chosen my I've chosen my true name as well at the moment, which is kind of just like a longer expanded version of like that god's title or name or whatever. I'm not sure if I'm entirely sold on that though, so I might change it.
But yeah, so Sort, the mythology of Sort is wrong. Putting it out there.
I mean, in your time was a person.
Well, no, like Sort was an actual god.
Okay,
who I
right, cool.
Like Traveler was a shaman, was their whole shtick. So like, actually had like relationships with the various gods to whatever extent. And I think like when we say loved Sort, we mean it in like the most biblical sense. Like I think Sort was actually an ex-lover. That was a thing that happened a very long time ago. My relationship with now Sort is a little bit weird.
Yeah, that
makes things interesting.
That adds a whole level.
Because you kind of were designed to look a bit like
exactly
him, and I'm not sure how I feel. Also, the fact that like you identify with a binary gender, whereas like Sort, like all of the gods did not, and I'm like, it's trippy. This is weird. Him. Ooh, that's it's strange. But yeah, so I think they're pressing me about like my refusal to like stick to the party line about Sort. Both current day Sort and mythological Sort.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, let's talk about actual Sort. You want to talk about that? Let's do that. And they're like, or you could not do that.
I think one of the things is that they're trying to like is they're pretty sure that like Sort remains the deity remains like a potential like really big threat, and they're like and so they're like trying to get like information about how to like defeat or manage that threat, and you're like, actually no, none of that makes sense.
I'm like, look, I mean, yes, they're dangerous to you, but like in the same way that all the gods are, because your entire civilization is like an affront to like the heavens. How has you not noticed this? Question mark. I mean, I don't think Swift is that blunt about it, but like that's what is being like politely implied by their kind of like deflections.
And I think at this point, this is the point at which Varsid, like is like this is unacceptable. I'm sorry. Like why do you make me do this again? And pulls out like a very very curved blade, like an S-bend blade that is just like, and just like pulls it out, and then you're going to roll Sandero.
Yeah, and I just think like we see like Swift's eyes go like dark and shadowed and like frightened. And I'm gonna roll and see how much stress I take. Yay! Andrew, I love that the first roll you get to make in this game is an unhappy one. Position and effect don't matter, do they? Because it's
not for this, no.
Resistance? Yep. Bonus dice.
It just uses the same things.
I got a 4.
Very nice. Cool. Well, in which case, so you're going to take 4 stress, and I think we then see you later. 2.
Because it's 6 minus.
6 minus.
Oh, 6 minus, of course. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Because it's backwards.
Yeah, and so I think to make them stop, I tell them like the beginnings of a ritual that the gods used to like forge weapons like that could hurt each other.
You tell them part of how like part
I admit
of what...
that it exists.
Yeah, you
I
admit
think
that
that's
it
it.
exists.
Like
yeah.
I admit that ritual exists
Mhm.
and confirm that suspicion. And
Yep.
yeah,
Cool.
I feel awful about it later.
Nice. So who's next on my list? Next on my list was Edna. Edna, are you? Where is the stress coming from today? Is it in your? Are you doing a performance, or are you making a public appearance, or what's the sitch?
I think it's probably actually like maybe after a public appearance, and maybe there are like some people who I guess fans who like Adna would actually like to go interact with, but is being prevented from doing so.
Here's my suggestion.
Yeah.
There are some fans you'd like to go and see. Those are not the ones that have paid.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Totally.
And so you're like you're being ushered away by your handler. And Anna's like is like, listen, your time is very very valuable. We have a very tight schedule to keep, and I don't understand why you want to go and go and cavort with one set of fans, adoring fans, yes, but ones that haven't put in the effort for your time. And yeah, I think we like and Anna's like is like, look, these people want to spend time with you and are willing to make sacrifices for that. And we just pan over to like just the it's got to be like a couple of noble noble folk or the equivalent thereof, like bourgeois, like neck beady, gaudily dressed, unpleasant smelling men, who just like I swear you could swear one of them like rubbed his hands greedily as you looked over towards them.
Yeah. It would just be 5 minutes. I'm sure that they'll have plenty of opportunity to speak to me. They can make a lot of sacrifices. These ones can't.
Let's roll to see how much stress you take and see what the kind of outcome of that is. So that's Kudere.
Oh,
Ooh, friend.
high is good for this one, isn't it?
You want higher. Yeah, that's
Oh,
you're taking
oh dear.
4 stress. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. So like it's like if they need to spend time with you, they can make a booking like everyone else, and you just get like physically dragged
Yeah.
towards these ones
Uh-huh.
as someone like starts handing them complimentary drinks.
Oh,
Yeah.
great! I love it.
Yeah. And I think like we fade out with like the sound of their like jostling for attention,
Yeah.
and like boisterous laughter and things, like fading
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
Who's next on my list? Kristen Rama. Is it the statue that's doing you in today?
I think it's that like the statue time that we spend posing for the statue bleeds over into time we were meant to be doing something else, and so like the two of them don't have time to like warm up or like properly costume change, and everybody like being like hustled through the city from to this other place, and like needing to like pull on these elaborate costumes along the way, and like get hurried to this venue where they're doing kind of like a passion play thing to teach children about like how to evacuate when the city gets fucked up or something, like there's some weird thing like that. And they are just like being run ragged around the city to all these different places to do the same performance over and over and over again. And like they keep equivalent of like public broadcast material.
And I think what they do is they keep like separating you for these. Like they're like, you've got to go and get this particular hair and makeup, and we want you to look like different characters, right? So for this particular thing, so they keep being like, you have to go and see this person, and you have to go to this particular dressmaker, and like they keep being like, the only time that you're seeing each other is when you're actually on stage and can't actually communicate. Yeah. Do you want to roll for that one?
And so I think the way that they cope with all of this is they like subtly ad-lib the scripts of these things to communicate with each other, because they both know what the words are meant to be. And so they make like little changes and sneak in messages to each other. While having like mock like sword duels and stuff, and like there's like a bunch of different little scenes.
I like the idea that a sword duel is involved in like a safety evacuation, like, and if you encounter a foe as you are trying to evacuate from a fire, fight them with a sword.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're this like horrible warmongering culture. So.
Yeah, right. Like it's assumed that if there is a fire, it's because someone has set the place on fire and wants you dead.
Yeah, right. Why would it catch fire otherwise?
Yeah, exactly. And finally, Sort.
Yeah.
Is it the speech that's hurting you, or is it something else?
I mean, the speech definitely is painful, because it is a very it's a truth that he doesn't really agree with, in like the things that he's saying are not really things that he feels or means, because he's representing his people as like one of the what were the enemy, and sort of being this proxy, wherein he is kind of describing how they were wrong and inferior, but they learned and saw the light and all this stuff. And yeah, I think like he does this almost every day, but it's still very tiring. But yeah, I don't know whether there's something else specific that happens today.
I feel like there's something that like you have to do a specific speech today that is about like how. No, I just want to check something. Sorry, give me a second.
I wondered if it was like I wondered if it was something about like who is there today, like whether there were school children or something like there today specifically, or something like that.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a child that reminds you of someone. And they're just like looking up at you, and because they're children of this society, they're just kind of looking up at you, being like, but like to you, you're reading it as like kind of dead-eyed, but you're reading it as like sadness and like disappointment, and being like how did you betray us? And this child being like you, and like we do the like Knight's Tale or whatever it is thing where like we pan around and like for a split second as they pass between two people in the camera, they are someone else. They're another child actor, where it's like oh no, that's the child that you remember. Did you have a child or were you a mentor to someone?
I think I had an older sibling who had a child. I think so. I think I was an uncle, and was quite involved in the life of that kid as a role model. So I think that's the thing that is disturbing here, is this feeling that I'm being a role model for this kid that's watching, but that I'm telling them all the wrong things.
Yeah. Yep. Do you want to roll Moe?
Moe? Sure. All right.
Oh, hold up. You're the stranger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you always roll Kudere for...
Aha! Cool.
Because you're just so...
I'm just so cold all the time. All right, so I just roll... Okay, I just roll Kudere. Okay. And then I put in a...
Just click OK for those. You don't need a position.
Okay.
You don't need a position or effect for these rolls.
Okay, so I just do cancel or no? What do I do?
Click.
Just click through. It doesn't matter.
Just click through.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Cool. Got it. 5.
Excellent. Good job. So you only take 1 stress.
Cool.
Very
okay.
nice.
I just subdue my emotions.
Yeah. What does your face look like as you do that? Do you twitch or do you just like go cold?
Yeah, I think he just gets more, just kind of stares at this kid very sternly. Like it's I think for the kid it's almost like a kind of an unsettling look of like, oh, this person obviously doesn't like me for some reason, because he kind of almost looks sort of angry.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, I think we'll go into downtime actions after our first break. If that's cool with everyone, we'll do that. Back in a minute, chat.